I think we're live.
Are we live? That's good.
Says we're live.
Oh, if we're live, we're live.
Says we're live here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the
I don't know
FIVESTACK.
what that
Hi.
means. This live may not be the live.
Is this not the live?
I don't know. I think you got to
Do you want me to check and make sure that we get, hi, if you're there and we're live, hi, everyone. Nice to see you.
The way to do it is to check it on our
Website.
Yeah, which I'm going to do right now.
Yeah, not live yet.
And as soon as, but even that's delayed. So even by the time we start, we're going to be late anyhow. So we might as well start, I think. We might as well just begin because there's no way around this. It's just they confound you on purpose.
Oh, tech. Oh, big tech.
Yes. Tech.
We're at the mercy of big tech and big pharma. Hi, everybody. If you're watching this, great to see you. Thank you for being here. I don't know if you hit the live button, but I'm hoping you did. I don't see anybody in the comments section. Doesn't say we're live yet.
It says we're live. It says we're live. So we're live.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
We're live?
Yes. I believe we're
live.
Hello, everybody. This
Hi.
is the wonderful world of technology. Me not understanding it very well. But this is also a nice, natural introduction to the show. We normally play music and stuff. Now it's not just me and Dean.
Is it natural?
I don't know what it is.
Is it?
It just
like, or is this just us ham and egging it? Like, we listen. What I've learned from Donald Trump over the past 10 years.
You've learned something from Donald Trump.
You can present all of your shortcomings and failures as opportunities.
Yes,
if you use the right words, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
totally.
We're just, we're trying to figure it out. Don't worry about it. We got this.
We're here.
We got this. We'll be live. Oh, we're live now. Yeah, 214 people watching, and we've been on. Sorry, guys. Sorry, that was like easily the most uninteresting intro in the history of Substack Lives, but really happy to be here with you. Welcome to the FIVESTACK. We've got a lot to talk about today. We'll wait till we filter in. Everybody come on in. Now, yeah, we got almost 300 now. Let's keep going. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to think there's something wrong with Donald Trump.
You're just starting to think there's something wrong with Donald Trump? And how do you diagnose that problem just today? Is there anything specific that is pointing to his craziness?
Some things.
Yeah. What's going on?
I think some things to get to. I've seen a lot from this president, but I have never seen someone come unglued who advocates for victims of decades-long sex abuse by rifling off social media post after social media post after claiming to be the hero in the story where over 1,000 children and young women were abused and trafficked, sexually abused and trafficked over a 30 to 35 year period by his best friend, in which he is deeply involved in the pedophile sex trafficking ring. To what extent and these specifics, it will come out. Trust me, it will come out. After signing a petition to give access to show America who the fuckers were. And so at 1 o'clock in the morning and over the past, I would say 12, 15 hours, I'm starting to think there's something wrong with Donald Trump, because if you sign a bill to get transparency for the victims of decades-long sex abuse, child trafficking rings, you probably are saying stuff like, I wish nothing but success for the victims. Anything I can do to help would be incredible. Very proud to be the president at this historic moment in time where this country will not only not allow rich white men to abuse children and young women, use them as playthings, and then cover it up over 3 to 4 decades. I'm very grateful that I got to be the guy to do that.
Yeah, that's what you'd normally expect the president of the United States to say.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm, after signing this historic bill, threatening to hang my political opponents for making me sign that bill. Then threatening everybody who disagrees with any decision I make from here on in with charging them with sedition and treason and, quote, death. So, yes, I'm starting to think there's something wrong with Donald Trump.
It's hard to imagine what was going on last night. I mean, I was up late too. I just published the someone gave me the full evidence roster of everything the FBI has in their files. Well, just a part of their files, and it's quite revealing everything that they have in there. I can go through it with you a little later on, but it's there's a lot of evidence in there. So maybe he saw that. Maybe that's what triggered him. But Donald Trump spent last night on Truth Social threatening to execute 6 Democratic lawmakers, all military veterans or intelligence professionals, for the crime of reminding U.S. troops that they have a legal duty to refuse illegal orders. After being forced to sign the Epstein Files Transparency Act following a 427-1 House vote, Trump posted seditious behavior punishable by death and amplified his supporters' call to hang them George Washington would. The targets, Senators Elise Slotkin and Mark Kelly, plus 4 House members who released a video titled...
Former CIA agent, former Navy veteran, and astronaut.
Yeah, Mark Kelly. Don't give up the ship, explaining basic military law. So you had the story on deanblundell.substack.com. He's become quite unhinged over the last 12, 24 hours. It's stunning to see the president threaten his political opponents with death. But somehow he feels it's appropriate.
Listen to what you just said.
I know, it's crazy.
It's stunning to see the sitting president of the United States threaten his political opponents with death by hanging. Listen, we are, and I know a lot of people like to toss this out early, but this should have been done in the previous Trump administration, not this Trump regime. Of the 25th Amendment, he is fucking gone, dude. He is so fucked in the head. He is so angry that he is being held accountable for the pedophile protection services he's being providing hundreds of people that feed into and give him anything he wants, because that means the grift is coming to an end. Yeah. He is so fucking angry that he was forced by every member of his party, with the exception of mega racist Clay Higgins, in the House and the Senate, to deliver transparency for the victims of a decades-long child pedophile sex trafficking ring. He is so fucking angry about that. He threatened to hang them all this morning by retweeting, we'll get to that in just a second, the entire fucking crazed lunatic email he put out, retweeting something from the Washington Examiner, well-known Nazi influencer site, where he's like, hang them like George Washington did. That is a fucking death threat. Yeah. That is a death threat to Democrats and every single person that forced him to sign the Epstein Files Discharge Petition Bill, which allows the victims of 35 years of child trafficking to get justice, to have their lives validated, their history, their horrific experiences with Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, and all of his pals over a 35-year period, to validate that happened to them.
Yeah. The whole thing is so bizarre to me. He's gone ahead and he's told the Department of Justice to please investigate all the Democrats involved in this case. He's listed a bunch of Democrats in this case.
Yeah.
They've got to have an investigation. Now he wants them to be killed, but that's a whole other thing. But he's apparently they're doing this as an excuse to basically hold back the information so they can hold back the entire files from everybody. Yep. But if he's only investigating Democrats because they're the only ones who did anything wrong, surely we can have all the files related to the Republicans and Donald Trump then. I mean, it stands to reason that he doesn't have to hold back everything. So by labeling the Democrats as the enemies here, by making them the Jeffrey Epstein people, he's actually saying to everyone, release all the Republican parts of the Epstein files, because there's some of those, and we would like to see those, right? Because he's so in favor of these files coming out, and the victims need to see it. They need the closure. So why not let them have that closure, and everything that's related to Republican leaders, including himself, because he's got nothing to hide, quote unquote, should be released. The Democrat stuff they can hold on to for a bit, let them investigate that if they think there's a crime. But he's got himself in a bit of a Gordian knot here, because he's basically fingering the terrible choice of words, but fingering the Democrats for these crimes, while letting himself off, but in so doing, he's actually, incriminating himself.
Of course he is.
It's
Of course he is. He's a fucking idiot with dementia. He's a con man. He's guilty as fuck of everything that he's threatening to investigate everybody else for, opening investigations for. I'm going to get to the unhinged 1 a.m. True Social post if you want to put it up.
I'd love to see it. I've got some difficulty with my very complicated technology.
Oh, that's okay. I'll just read it.
But you go ahead, and I will try put something up as you talk. It might be the wrong one, but it might be the right one. I don't know. Which one?
So again, I'm gonna draw everybody's attention back, and I think this is really important to what a normal, morally decent president of the United States would put out if they signed a transparency bill to get victims of decades-long sex trafficking ring justice, right? Going forward. Keep in mind, that didn't happen here. Here, let me read this to you. This was his first email, text, and signing, and he did sign it. Sign the, by the way, no photo op, no, press pool, no scrum in the Oval Office celebrating this historic achievement. He walked into the Oval Office, according to my sources, slammed his fucking hand on the ground. He says, "Where's the fucking bill?" And the person next to him who was like, "It's right there, sir. You're more than welcome to sign it now." And he fucking blah, 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 and he threw it at the person and he goes, "Get the fuck out of my office."
He did?
That happened apparently.
Oh my God.
This is the first tweet he put out after signing it. This is at 1 a.m. First Truth social media post. I mean, he put others out, but in addressing the Epstein signing.
It's up now, right now? Is this the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Yep.
Okay.
Jeffrey Epstein, he says, who was charged by the Trump Justice Department. So now we're already into taking credit. And keep that in mind. We'll blow some of the lies away in just a second. Charged by the Trump Justice Department in 2019, not the Democrats. Was a lifelong Democrat. Donated thousands of dollars to Democrat politicians, deeply associated with many well-known Democrat figures, such as, and he goes on the same tangent, Bill Clinton, who traveled on his plane 26 times, Larry Summers, who just resigned from many boards. He only actually resigned from the OpenAI board. He's taken a step back from Harvard. Sleazebag political activist Reid Hoffman, minority leader Hakeem Jeffries. He just yanks that one out of nowhere. Who asked Epstein to donate to his campaign after Epstein was charged. Democrat Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, and many more. Perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed because, all caps now, everybody, I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files. As everyone knows, I asked House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune to pass this bill in the House and Senate, respectively, because of this request. The votes were almost unanimous. He's taking credit for the unanimous votes.
Oh my gosh!
I'm not
I can lie like nobody's business.
It's unreal.
It's really, really weird. It's really weird.
So he's like, because of me, it was almost unanimous in favor of the passage. At my direction, this request, the votes were almost at my direction. The Department of Justice has already turned over close to 50,000 pages. Put a pin in that too. Do not forget the Biden admin did not turn over a single file or page related to the Democrat Epstein. He's got to brand him Democrat Epstein, nor did they ever speak about him. Democrats have used the Epstein issue, which affects them far more than the Republican Party. Yeah, that's probably why they're doing this. In order to try and distract from the amazing victories, including the great, big, beautiful tax cut bill, strong borders, no men and women's sports, there's like 4, or transgender for everyone, ending DEI, stopping Biden's record-setting inflation, lowering prices, blah, 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 capability, trillions of dollars invested. All lies. I'll talk about that in a second. All lies. And we're the hottest country in the world. All lies. Even delivering a huge defeat on the recent shutdown disaster. For years, our great nation has to endure Russia, 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 Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, and many other Democrats, witch hunts and scams, all of which have been so terrible and divisive for the country that they've been done to confuse, deflect, and distract from the great job Republicans in the Trump administration are doing. This latest hoax will backfire, and the Democrats, just as all the rest have. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again.
How does he get away with this? How does he even Let me just mention a couple of things. It is true that in 2019, his own Justice Department investigated Jeffrey Epstein. It's also true that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and also died under his watch at the same time. And it's interesting that in 2019, when he had all this enormous evidence that she claims to have about Bill Clinton and Reid Hoffman and all these other people, he didn't actually initiate an investigation into those people. Instead, what they did was they launched an investigation into Ghislaine Maxwell, which tracked her down in her hideaway and then ultimately put her under arrest. So they didn't go after the perpetrators that he's now alleging were the ones. They went after Ghislaine Maxwell, who just knew a thing or two about what Donald Trump was involved with. That's why they maybe went after her. It's obviously why they went after Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody else in that investigation was touched. And I have the evidence roster of everything that they had in evidence. And you could pretty much, it's just even by reading what is in evidence, you can tell exactly what they were doing in that house and in their various houses. And that there was lots of surveillance and lots of video and lots of photographs, which have never emerged. But they obviously had them back in 2019. So they would have known which famous people in the Democrats or the Republicans were involved in some crimes. But they chose not to prosecute any of those people. And in fact, as recently as this year, the Attorney General said that case was closed, that there's nothing else.
No more information.
No more. But
but yesterday somehow they got all kinds of new information after the vote.
Brand new information. Now, Bill Barr, who was the then Attorney General, was also implicated in all sorts of weird stuff related to Jeffrey Epstein, was the one who presided over that investigation. And now Pam Bondi's also saying that there's no case there; it's all closed. But because of this bill, and because the president has now decided that he needs something to throw at the masses, he's saying that the Democrats did all of this, and therefore we need to prosecute them. And now we've got these prosecutions. But why didn't he do it in 2019 when he was the president and Bill Barr was the Attorney General? Why did
you talking about the same thing he's now blaming Biden for? When
Yes.
yeah.
It's the logic defies. There's no logic. Obviously, it's the
and no one pushes back in that department too. It's funny that you bring that up because I was thinking about it today. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. We had this kind of the creative session. We were kind of talking about different things, and they brought up this Trump stuff because they know what I do, and they said, I watched him, basically blame Biden for everything for the past 10 and a half months, and then I watched him, to your point, blame Biden for not lifting a finger, Obama for not lifting a finger. But to your greater point, we watched a video the other day of this heroic victim of Jeffrey Epstein go, 5 administrations have let us down. Donald Trump is 2 of those.
Yeah.
And directly involved.
Directly involved. I mean, I think when you come around to it, none of these other presidents and none of these other Republicans were his best friend. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends. They were business partners. They did business together.
Did anybody in the Epstein ring die during other administrations?
No, there was no Jeffrey Epstein accidentally committing suicide or whatever it was.
And what administration put Ghislaine Maxwell behind bars for life?
Ghislaine Maxwell, well, that was Biden, wasn't it, actually?
Yeah,
that was Biden. Yeah. But, what administration put her into a cushy camp instead of an actual prison because they got her to say some nice things about the president? Well, there's only one of those, and that's Donald Trump, who is talking about commuting her sentences with her, Donald Trump. So if anyone believes any of this stuff, well, they're crazy, of course, because none of it is possibly true. But the president is losing it because he has no options left. I mean, his last card is to get Bondi to basically get him out of jail, and she's not even interested in doing that. So he is stuck. Within 30 days, I think we're going to see these documents come out, and I think they're going to be not very good for the president of the United States, and he knows it.
Yeah, and not only is it not going to be very good for Donald Trump, he is on his back foot. Now, listen, this is really important for a lot of you watching. Donald Trump and the regime have been able to control the news cycle for the past 10 months, largely controlled the news cycle during his first administration as well. They were always proactive. They never had to react. And if they did react, they reacted flippantly, which, or mockingly. Now, literally, the guy is so on the back foot, he's threatening to hang his opponents. And he's also threatening to fucking charge anybody that disagrees with him with sedition and treason, punishable, quote, by death. That happened today. And the impetus for that is fascinating because you had 6 Democratic politicians, well heeled. Jason Crow served with distinction the United States of America as a fucking paratrooper. Mark Kelly, sitting senator from Arizona. Fucking dude was an astronaut, an Air Force pilot who put himself in the fucking fight, got shot at, and shot other people. Elise Slotkin, former CIA agent. And then you had 3 other people that rounded that out, also with combat and Navy experience, doing this video that they put out, effectively telling the men and women in service, men and women in uniform, these brave, incredible human beings who are literally being used as a fucking leverage point for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is desperately trying to get their attention and their buy-in, and he's trying to change the minds and the hearts of soldiers who have committed to the Constitution to commit to serving him, changing their oath. And this video was incredible because they all sat up there and they all went, remember, you have an oath to the fucking Constitution. And I'm paraphrasing heavily here, not that prick. Remember who you serve, and remember it is illegal to follow unlawful orders. Remember that. There are agencies dedicated to educating men and women in uniform, GI agencies, legal agencies that exist today that never existed before, that give men and women in uniform outside of JAG, because if you remember what Donald Trump did as soon as he ascended, when he brought the Secretary of War, he got rid of the Army ethics group, he got rid of JAG, he got rid of as many fucking people as he could that stood between him and him literally telling the military to attack Americans, to attack fucking Caribbean fishermen, to attack Venezuela, people that would have stood in the way of these kinds of fucking terrible decisions. And so these Democrats put out this video, which is absolutely fucking moving. And effectively, they tell every single man, and these are veterans of different services and different departments of in the DOJ, whether it be CIA, the Navy, FBI, et cetera, who are like, you do not have to follow unlawful orders. As soon as that video went out, the op started, and this was the op. That's sedition. You had Nazi Stephen fucking Miller. Tell everybody who has never served a fucking day in his life, who used to literally, his whole dream when he was a kid was to be the commander of fucking Starfleet. Instead, he chose the career of being a fucking Nazi asshole. Tell everybody they're committing sedition if they don't follow Donald Trump's orders. But here's the catch. They're not supposed to follow illegal orders. They're not supposed to follow unlawful orders like extrajudicial killings. And to the point where a new report came out today where the most senior Southern JAG officer, which is the lawyer within the Army, said, hey, Donald Trump regime guys, Pete Nutsack, by the way, this is illegal. You shouldn't do this because you're going to get us and everybody involved in the chain of command that makes this happen in deep, deep trouble, not just here in the United States with the Justice Department, but you're going to get us into deep, deep trouble with the international criminal courts. These are crimes against humanity. And they overruled that JAG and did it anyway 24 fucking times.
So this sedition that he claims is happening is because it's him who's doing the sedition. I mean, it's him who's ignoring the Constitution. It's him who's doing all the illegal acts, who's demanding the military do all these illegal things. And he's accusing Democrats of doing these things, which is, again, it's a very typical projection on his part. But the Democrats who did this are some of the most respected Democrats in the House and the Senate, and they are merely stating the fact. They are stating this is what the military does. You defend the Constitution of America. You don't follow illegal laws or illegal orders from the President of the United States, and definitely not the President of the United States, but certainly not from anybody in the real chain of command. So, it's just, what's he going to do? Like, he's got the military that he's saying they're not behind him. They've got the House and the Senate, which I think, basically unanimously had a vote of no confidence in him by the Epstein files. I mean, that seems to me like it's, this is not what 2 weeks ago, no one would have said anything against the President of the United States right now. No MAGA person would have even put a foot out of line against Donald Trump. But now there's a unanimous vote saying, you are we just don't trust you. We think you're part of a criminal, organized crime network that may have, trafficked teenagers for years, that may have, and involved in a cover up as well. I mean, let's not forget that for the last few months, he's been trying to cover up the story.
Yeah.
These are not even impeachable. These are actual criminal charges, but they're also impeachable crimes that he's doing. And you got to believe that he knows that that's coming, because there's nothing left for him. There's no other road out of this. Can't have the war that he wants to have, because the military doesn't look like it's on side. So he can't have that distraction.
Can't wag the dog.
He can't do that. Yeah. He can't do. Pam Bondi did not look like she was playing his game yesterday when she was at that press conference. She was like, "Not me. Ask the other guy." So who is he going to get to do anything for him in the situation when they all know anyone who's ever done anything for him has landed up being completely screwed? This president.
That's a great question. That's a great question. And, it's really interesting because I had a conversation with a colleague of mine today, Canadian journalist, who will go nameless, who called me for Substack help, which is crazy. and he was like, hey, what do you think of, what's going to happen after this is done? And I'm like, give me some more context. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean this? And he said, every person that agreed to do whatever the fuck he told them to do, from Tim Cook to, the guy that hit the fire button on the missiles that was taking out, Caribbean fucking fishermen, so that he can have a justification to invade Venezuela, they're no threat to anybody. I mean, they're no threat to me. They're no threat to the United States in any fucking capacity whatsoever. They just want the oil. That's a fact. Jeffrey Epstein outlined it in the Epstein files dump. He's like, go hard on Venezuela.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Epstein also, I just read a fucking great email exchange where Jeffrey Epstein offered Stephen Miller's wife up to Steve Bannon on Epstein Island, and he said, yeah, I'll take you up on that.
No way.
Oh, dude.
This relationship between Bannon and Epstein is something else. I mean, the 60
they're deep. They're deep.
Rehearsal clips are just like insane. This guy is... It's a mess. I mean, what was Bannon doing with Epstein?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it in just a second. We'll get to it in just a second. You're taking me way off course, and I don't know if I have the mental capacity to be able to bring us back
at some point. But yes,
yeah. We're 20 minutes into number one. Might as well stay on track. This is a big fucking deal, dude. But every single one of those people in that chain of command, and I say this all the time, and Eric Swalwell's great at it, preserve records, get a fucking lawyer.
Yeah.
Like it's coming to an end. We're watching literally the start of the end, and not just the start of the end of Donald Trump, but every single fucking person he's been able to shoehorn into his mob tactics, into this terroristic fucking police state that is literally running around trying to collect money and leverage it through doing things like fucking blowing up fishing boats and abandoning Ukraine and fucking threatening to fucking hang people. Like I've never in my life, and I say this every week now, thought I'd ever see this. I never thought I would see this, where you're looking at the president of the United States and you're like, okay, he's got dementia, I get that, but he just threatened to hang people, his opponents, and not just hang his opponents. This is the other fucking part. He's now threatening to fucking kill anybody that doesn't follow his orders, calling it seditious behavior punishable by death because of that video that those heroes put out saying you don't have to follow unlawful orders. He then puts this out in response to the Nazi account that said, fucking hang the Democrats. It's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Words. Their word is fucking free speech absolutist. You should be able to say anything you want. I don't know. Just fucking, you're all soft. You're all a bunch of pansies. That's what he said a couple weeks ago. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. We will not have a country anymore. An example must be set, President DJT. 2 minutes later, this is really, really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up. President DJT. Seditious behavior punishable by death. Donald Trump. Hang him. Hang him. George Washington would. He retweets that. He goes on and on and on and on and on. Elise Locke and Mark Kelly, Jason Crow, Maggie Goodlander, veteran of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and a former intel expert, are heroes. They've served. They put themselves in harm's way. Donald Trump claimed he had bone spurs 7 times to get rid of out of the draft for fucking Vietnam. He called John McCain a fucking loser because he got caught and served as a POW and refused to come home and allowed the Vietnamese people to continue to break his arms and legs.
And George
For
Washington
years.
would not have, in a million years, done that, because George Washington was the prime example of a very wealthy guy who could have been an absolute leader, who could have held on to absolute power, but actually twice handed over power because he didn't feel the need to hold on to power like this,
there was a movement in Philadelphia where John Adams is like, sir, you can't go.
Yeah.
We need you. And here's the thing. Not only do we need you because of your wisdom, and by the way, George Washington, practicing Stoic, loves Stoic philosophy, as I do. Seneca was his philosopher of heart, as Marcus Aurelius. Everybody should get into it for the good things, not the bad things. And George Washington was like, what do we go through all that bullshit for? Yeah. Like, whoa, dude, John, hear me out. John, are you fucked? Not only am I not, not only am I going to hand the keys, I'm going to go to Mount Vernon. I'm going to live a happy life. Yes, there's a slave issue there. We'll talk about that another time. I'm going to live a happy life. I'm going to write my memoirs, and I'm just going to go live. And this is what we decided with the founding fathers. This is
the way it should be. We're going to
hand over power. No one, and then we're going to build this White House. And they're like, sir, we need to build a palace. And he's like, no, we don't. Do you know why we don't want to build a palace? Everybody's like, why not? He goes, because A, I ain't living there. Yeah. And B, this was the whole fucking point of the American Revolution, that we are the people. It is a house. It is not a palace. It is not Buckingham. It is not any of those things that we fought and died for so we could have our own land, our own country. There's a historical lens that everybody needs to look at the egregious fucking crimes Donald Trump is currently committing. And then there are different people that you have to listen to. And one of the guys, don't know his name. I have confirmed, and it's a 9-minute video. I'm going to be posting it a little later on, who's been in the Army for a very, very long time, who's connected with a guy who loved Donald Trump, also in the Army, best friends for a very, very long time. And he's on the inside of the Senate Intel Committee. And he sent, he and this guy had an exchange, and he broadcast this exchange today. I promise I will share it with all of you.
You should play it.
Where he asked, do you want me to send it to you right now?
Yeah, send it.
It's 9 minutes.
I mean, if it's good, let's listen to it. It sounds like it's you're the buildup is pretty good.
He effectively said this gentleman works for the Senate Intel Committee. Mm-hmm. If you want to know what's behind the unanimous vote, there are visuals and there are examples of Donald Trump with underage girls.
Oh, I've no doubt.
There are. And this person was a maggot, full on, rah-rah, free market. And then everybody started getting fucked. And then this guy saw this stuff. And he called his friend and he's like, and he didn't say anything. He didn't admit to it. The guy asked him, he's like, is there stuff in there with him with underage girls? Silence. And he goes, sir? And he goes, yes. There is, isn't there? Yes. And I am sickened to my stomach because I cannot believe I bought it. That is coming for every single member of MAGA. That feeling, that vibe, that regret. And if it weren't for the victims, I would literally celebrate and I told you so's. I can't do that because this isn't about me. This is about Donald Trump defrauding a nation, convincing a group of people, great salesman. He managed to convince Mark Burnett he was a billionaire. Fuck. I mean, he managed to convince Melania Trump he was a Lothario. I mean, she was in it for her own. And by the way, Melania Trump was with Epstein before she was with Trump. She was part of the Epstein pipeline. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. But it's the reckoning is coming. The reckoning is coming. I'll send you the video right now.
Do you know how I know that there is? Well, there's probably a lot of evidence, but I looked at the evidence chart that they released a few months ago that I got into my hands yesterday, and it detailed 151 items of evidence that they have against Jeffrey Epstein and the whole Epstein investigation. And amongst them, they had 30 computers and servers, 30, 12 hard drives, 10 USB flash drives, 8 mobile devices. And then I'll just pull up this next slide for you guys, which is coming. It's here. They also had 5 recording devices that were industrial strength surveillance systems and 5 backup systems. So in each of these homes, they had not your typical, I got a camera on the front door or whatever. They had multiple cameras recording multiple rooms and on servers that were backed up. Plus, they have images, CDs, binders of books, images that go, there's details of it here. People want to get, you're interested in the storage device.
Hard drives. I'm sure there's hard drives. I'm sure there's Polaroids. I'm sure there's
hard drives. There's lots of these files say that there are naked women or naked girls in them. They went to every single one of the different locations that Jeffrey Epstein operated, and there clearly is information in here about, all sorts of wrongdoing, all sorts of
pedophilia,
all sorts of blackmail material that these guys were gathering. Now, Donald Trump was a regular visitor to Jeffrey Epstein's office. He never went to the house, but he certainly is. And this is I found out just recently that he was a regular visitor to the office, not to the house, but that things also went off down in the office. It wasn't just the house that these events took place in. We haven't really thought of the office, which was, at the old Olympic Palace. We never really thought of the office as a place where this kind of stuff went down, but apparently it was. And this is breaking right now. I've never actually said this out loud, that Trump himself was a regular visitor at the office, visiting Jeffrey Epstein. So this is all new information, but in and amongst all these tapes, there's got to be lots of information around Donald Trump. Don't forget, Donald Trump was a modeling agency owner, and for what that meant back in the 90s was, he basically trafficked a lot of Eastern European women for all sorts of wrong reasons. Some of them.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know a lot about Jean-Luc Brunel. You know a lot about Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. Yeah. You also know a lot about Julian Casablancas. Is it Julian or John Casablancas?
John Casablancas.
Casablancas. John Casablancas, Elite Model Agency, Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, Jean-Luc Brunel. They all had modeling agencies, right?
Mm-hmm. It was a big deal back then in the 90s. They were all chasing models. And it was a good way, lucrative way of moving money around as well.
Well, lucrative way of not just moving money around, but lucrative way of having a roster of young girls that you can sexually assault. A roster of young girls that you can bring in through your spa, traffic through Ghislaine, Jean-Luc Brunel, John Casablancas, who married Stephanie Seymour when she was 16. 16 years old.
There's a picture of John Casablancas and Ivanka Trump that is very disturbing. I mean, it's just, what you're seeing is not normal when you see her interaction with John Casablancas and her father sitting right next to her, and she's maybe 6, 7, I don't know. She's not very young. She's very, very young. I mean, this was what they were doing back then, and for whatever reason, some of these people maybe were in their adult years, maybe they were just prostitutes, and this is what they were doing. They're finding a new life, but
which is fine.
Fine, that's what that's happens. You
want to be a sex worker? I never listen. I've never had to hire a sex worker. I'm fortunate that way. But I never talked down about sex work. And what we're talking about here is the abuse.
What we're talking about
of that and the abuse of children.
Yeah,
right?
Teenage girls who are still very innocent, who don't know what's going on, being abused, being victimized, being molested, being trafficked. Mostly the being trafficked part. When you think about it, these girls were just losing their innocence as they were just captured at a very young age, and then basically moved around from person to person to person like it's some sort of property, and
state to state, country to country.
And they were all promised, all lured in because they were going to be models. They were all going to be models for who? For John Casablancas, Jeffrey Epstein, or Donald Trump.
Jean-Luc Brunel, Donald Trump. Yeah.
Interesting little side note about MC2, which is the Brunel agency. That's the name of the Brunel agency,
who strangely enough died via hanging in a jail cell in France.
Now, it's what is MC squared? What is MC squared? You know that
Theory of relativity. Yeah.
yeah, E. What is it? E
E equals MC squared. Yeah.
who's E?
Einstein.
In this case,
Yep.
Epstein. So
Epstein.
Jean, this again never been. I don't think I've ever said this, and I don't think I've read it anywhere else. But it's something I've discovered along the way here is that MC2, the modeling agency that Brunel had, the reason they named it that was E equals MC2. So you got an Epstein modeling agency, not not Brunel agency. And who was it? Which bank loaned the money to start Brunel and MC2?
JP Morgan.
JP Morgan. That's our number one story today.
I just guessed it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Tell me about that.
You're brilliant. You're brilliant because that same bank.
Listen, before we get to the story, I want everybody to understand that this is why they were doing it.
Yeah.
This is not, and you lay it out incredibly in your Greatest Heist series over at narrative.org. And if I haven't already told everybody, listen, I'm really, really, really bad at the nuts and bolts of like selling ourselves. I'll go on a tangent sometimes about how important subscribers are to me. Free or paid, sharing, hitting that heart at the bottom of the screen, hammer that thing so we can get this to the top of the algorithm, get as many people watching this as possible. This is great information that you need, but no one's done more work. No one is deeper. No one has cracked the code more than my man, Zev Shalev over at narrative.org. And that Greatest Heist series, it is all about that with respect, full respect to the women who were used to make that a very silent, private, fucking mob-like entity where a group of individuals with foreign interference could visit horrific financial disasters on the greatest democracy in the world, which is why we are fucking here, by the way.
Thanks for saying that. You're so nice. You know, the story that we're telling in The Greatest Heist this time and why it's, it just dawned on me recently that this is why it's so interesting. I've taken the financial evidence, I've taken the political climate, and I've taken the evidence around the human trafficking. And I'm overlaying them on top of each other. And that is what's giving us the actual real image of everything that's been going on. People have known things were a little weird in the financial world around Jeffrey Epstein and JP Morgan. But when you layer that over, hey, this is what was happening in the prosecution of sexual crimes. This was what's happening with Israeli intelligence. This is what's happening with Russian intelligence. Well, then you start seeing something very, very different to form. And it's that's a good reason for people to check out the Greatest Heist. Should we move on to story number 4 because we have so much more to do? Oh, and I've got such a good
dude. I'm good. I'm good to go all day. I can do this for 4 hours. So.
Okay, well, let's do number 4 because it's a darn good one. It comes from deanblundell.substack.com. So Trump's handpicked prosecutor in the James Comey revenge case has just admitted in federal court that the grand jury never actually saw the final indictment they used to charge him. Lindsay Halligan, a 36-year-old former insurance lawyer and beauty pageant contestant with zero prosecutorial experience, who met Trump at his golf course, indicted Comey 4 days into her new job as U.S. attorney over the objections of career prosecutors. You have the story on deanblundell.substack.com. You'll do much more justice telling it. She spoke to Page 6 today. It's kind of stunning that she did that. But this is remarkable.
What'd she say? What'd she say in that
on
Page
6? Oh, my God. She was offended. The judge was critical of her. She said... in her interview with Page 6, Lindsay Halligan...
I totally don't know why.
Directly addressed criticisms levied against her. She said that Judge Nachmanoff's remarks calling her a puppet for former Trump, she was upset about that. She says the personal attacks that she has endured by the judge do not alter the facts of the case. She stressed her professionalism and cited judicial ethics, saying the judge should remain patient, dignified, respectful to litigants, witnesses, lawyers, and others whom the judge interacts with to foster public trust in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. She actually said that to the New York Post.
She didn't, by the way, she didn't write those
She didn't
comments.
write that, but she's quoting it. And she's like, so she's upset. The judge called her out on the fact that she completely broke the law. 2 judges, actually. It's not even 1 judge.
Yeah.
Completely broke the law.
By omitting facts and introducing lies as her excuse and saying, I promise I'll expound on those lies later.
Yeah, because it turns out Comey was never actually indicted at all. I mean, it just was a made-up thing. It's just like, so she thinks the judge is at fault because he's questioning these things of her. It's
Well, the interesting part there is that her thing was like, these are personal attacks. Like, let the facts speak for themselves. There are no facts. That's what the judges are fucking
There's nothing.
saying. Like, it's just fucking.
There's no
I
grand
never
jury
send a
testimony.
swimsuit model turned insurance agent to be your fucking federal prosecutor for a case against James Comey, a career public servant who was the director of the FBI, who can arm himself with all the trappings and the best legal minds, including Daniel Rich, who's his lawyer, who's like, what the
Read
fuck
him.
is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, this is unprecedented. That's the thing that people understand. When you hear that word, it's an important word. The judge, Nakmov, called it unprecedented. Fitzpatrick called it unprecedented. Norm Eisen, every legal mind in the world is like, this is
Because she
this is
is
fucked.
acting as a political assassin for the president of the United States, and he's breaking the law in order to do that. I mean, she's not just being, weaponizing the Department of Justice. She is
Perjury,
breaking
vindictive
the law, the
prosecution.
board.
You like he's like this is the thing. She's not Lindsay Halligan. If you're watching, hi, by the way, you're getting not just disbarred, you're going to fucking jail for a long time. And this is going back to the fucking, the other shit that we talked about earlier in terms of, the military video with Slotkin and these Democrats going, don't follow unlawful orders. She not only fell for an unlawful order, she got carte blanche support from Todd Blanche, the deputy attorney general, who, if you watch the interview the other day on Fox News, where he's like, I really like Lindsay Halligan. She's great. He had these like eyes, these ones, those deer in the headlight eyes, where it's like you're watching him and he's like, she's really great. Where in my mind, I'm watching him and I'm like, oh, you're thinking about your fucking jetpack to get out of there too. Like you're thinking about what's my escape hatch. Because at this point, and I said this yesterday, Lindsay Halligan needs to get a real lawyer. She needs to get away from Donald Trump. Every single fucking legal mind that has been warped into doing Donald Trump's bidding needs to do the same thing. Preserve records, get a fucking real lawyer.
And you've been quoting Swalwell for saying that. I think we haven't got to the point yet, but we're about to get to that point where people are going to start calling for blood here because we need accountability and we need justice. And I mean, it's not like Donald Trump just needs to step down or we need a new president. Donald Trump needs to go to jail. Donald Trump needs to go to jail for the rest of his life for the crimes he's committed. And it's that kind of accountability.
And the crimes he's forced other people to commit in his name.
Everybody around him needs to go to jail for the crimes they've committed for a very long time. And they've got to pay back and they've got to do everything that they've needed to do. This is not one of those things you walk away from and say, oh, we'll forgive this one. This is not even Nixon where you can say, hey, just step away from office. We won't. But this is a much more serious case of someone who's completely destroyed the office of the American presidency. The executive of the American presidency is busy stealing left, right, and center from the American people, and he's destroying the Department of Justice, amongst many other things, threatening to go to war with other countries for unjustified
and gloating
reasons.
About all this as Americans starve, by the way.
And then pretending he's the king when we don't have kings. We don't have that here. So how did you become the king? You're not allowed to do that. That's not our constitution. This person needs to go to jail, but everybody involved, and this touches on a lot of people in Wall Street, a lot of people in Silicon Valley, and a lot of people in the media world who are running major corporations, need to start assessing where they stand, because this is not going to continue for very long. This guy is going down. And if you can't see that, you're blind. But okay, if you can see it, and most of you should be able to see it, the entire elite of this country is about to be sent to jail. The entire group of them that has enabled this guy, have committed crimes to this guy, has bent the knee for this guy to give him, gold-plated whatever it was that Tim Cook decided to give him, and all these.
By the way, on that note, I don't know if you saw Rolex. They got Switzerland got a break on tariffs the other day because Rolex showed up with a gold bar that was 1 kilogram, which was bigger than Tim Cook's, and also gifted him a $400,000 Rolex desk clock, pure gold.
And
and a Trump spokesperson literally said these words: "That's how you get the president's attention."
Yeah, we know that's how you get the president's attention. You have to bribe him. You have to bribe and blackmail this guy to get anything done, and that's the only way he respects you. So but that's not how America works, and it's not how the Constitution works, and it's not why this has become the greatest country in the world. You don't get to be the greatest country in the world if you operate like a banana republic. And because of that, this man has to go to jail. He has to be in jail for the rest of his life. His family probably has to be in jail for the rest of his life. And everybody else, Lutnick, everybody needs to go to jail because they have consistently broken the crime, broken the law time and time again. That's how I feel.
do you have that video? I texted it to you.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have it. If you can bring it up on text.
It's going to take me a little second to.
Yeah, I'll wait for you. Okay. To that point, because not only does this gentleman who serves and served with distinction let some cats out of the fucking bag about Trump with Epstein and literally visuals, documented visuals this person has seen of Trump doing things untowards with underage girls. This person also said that, he addressed the crimes in process, slam dunks, Qatari jet, slam dunk, crypto, slam dunk, pardons for hire, pardons for pay, slam dunk, this fucking tariff protection racket, which, I happen to have it on pretty decent authority here in Canada with people in Carney's orbit. There was a personal financial ask to relieve tariffs for Donald Trump and to give Donald Trump his due, his money, his tribute, if you will, to do business with the United States. You're going to have to give me some fucking dough. Yeah, that's a fact. And I'll stand on it. And if anybody sues me for it, I'll be like, okay, I got these texts. What do you want? What do you want to do with these? So, like, that's and we've kind of known it. Everybody's known it. We've all and there's a lot of people in the comment section that are blown away by this, but we all knew it. We all knew this was going on because that's what you're angry about.
Yeah,
those are the things that you're looking at today, where you're like, is he really doing it? Yeah. How many examples do you need of him taking gifts? His spokesperson say, you better come armed with something. Where else does that happen in the world?
Nowhere. Well, it happens in other places. It happens in very corrupt countries.
Well, it happens in America. And it happens with the mob. Where you go in and you give a tribute to the boss. You're the boss. There's a tribute. That's how he's running America.
Yeah.
That's how he's running America. And if you were under the impression that he was going to get away with it like I was, I'm like, he's going to fucking get away with it. He got elected again. He can get away with anything. What happened this week was historic for a bunch of reasons. And then let's hotfoot the idea that the Supreme Court of the United States of America is in Trump's pocket.
I don't think I can get it played with audio. Sorry. It's going to have to wait later on Dean Blundell. Sorry.
Yeah. I'll put out the video later. It explains everything. And you'll be like, fuck yeah. And I know a lot of people out there are like, UGC, you can't rely on it. Who's this guy? I've checked this guy out, and I'll put all the receipts in there. Mm-hmm. He's literally a pedophile. He's literally an adjudicated rapist. He is literally a money launderer for the Russian mob. Mm-hmm. He's literally a money launderer for the mob. He is literally running the United States of America as if he was the fucking Don of the United States of America. Yep. Because that is what this sick fuck knows.
And that's what he is. It's what he's always been. And so he thinks he can get away with it because he got Russia and he got Saudi Arabia and he got the UAE and he got all these people to say it was okay. And he thought, well, if they say it's okay, they'll beat the United States of America. And that is a very, very mistaken analysis, to think that the United States would be destroyed by this group of autocrats who can't even, never mind get an economy the size of America going at all, but who have no respect from their people, who are leaders just because they are dictators and autocrats and suppress any opposition. They are leaders by force. To imagine that could defeat the might and power of the United States economy, and the United States economy plus the incredible basis on which the United States is built on. I mean, the United States has got the power of the people. It's got the power of the idea of liberty, of freedom, of equality, of justice. It's not perfect, but it's way better than everybody else has got. And because it's way better than everybody else has got, it's very hard to defeat that. It's very hard to defeat an idea. And so Donald Trump made the mistaken analysis that if he can get all these guys, if he can get all these dictators with all their might and power to come and try and bully the United States out of existence, that he'd succeed in doing it. And he just hasn't happened. Instead, he looks like an idiot. He's broken crime after law after law after law. And he's turned the United States into a laughingstock around the world. Mm-hmm. Now, he's going to pay the price for that. I have no doubt about it. The meeting with MBS this week, who's like, we kind of gloss over these things, but it's like, this guy's a killer of an American journalist that he organized the most vile hit on, and we're honoring him in a state dinner.
It gets worse. Not that I need to make anybody's Thursday worse. If you remember that $2 billion bailout package that Jared Kushner got from the Saudi government, you remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? And it's been a hot topic, and no one's wanted to go after Jared Kushner. There's a phone call that exists that Alexander Vindman, who's a fucking American hero, talked about in a House speech the other day, where he's like, I happen to be part of a group of people who've listened to Donald Trump on these phone calls with dictators and what he does with them and how cozy he is with them. Not just cozy, but how he caters to what they need, what they want, and he gets something in return. There is a phone call that exists around this conversation where Donald Trump and MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, nailed it, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who is a stone-cold dictator, hardcore Muslim killer, who is subjecting the Saudi people to horrific crimes. They're just not allowed to broadcast it anymore because he's got an iron fucking hand on that country. And there's a phone call that exists, apparently, according to Vindman and several other national security experts who were involved with or understood what was going on, where after Jamal Khashoggi was brutally suffocated, strangled, then murdered, which audio exists of this, because he was killed in Turkey. The Turkish government put that audio out. Of course, they've got listening devices in every embassy in Turkey. They do. Of course they do. And they dismembered this man into 15 to 20 pieces. Literally after, and there were 12, if I'm not mistaken, Saudis that were involved in this extrajudicial killing, and it's been passed off by Khashoggi, by MBS, as these were rogue agents. Right. The receipts are very different, and this phone call that Vindman is trying to get out, and that other organizations are now putting FOIA requests in. And there is an existing phone call that effectively, because at the time, I don't know if you remember this, Khashoggi, what he was reporting on and why he was killed was that effectively the assertion is that Jared Kushner, through Trump, was passing highly sensitive information over to the Saudi government.
Of course, yes, that's a big deal.
And shortly after that, guess who got a $2 billion infusion into their real estate / construction / Ven company from Saudi Arabia? But this phone call effectively outlines everything, congratulates Khashoggi for murdering a man who's an American resident legally with American children who worked for the Washington Post as a venerated reporter.
Wow.
Suck on that. Yeah, this afternoon.
I've actually got this video that it's finally processed, so we can listen to it. Do you want to listen to it now? This is the You Need This video.
Yeah. So keep in mind, this is user generated. I have vetted the fact that this person is a legitimate and was for a very long time a member of the United States military service in some capacity. And it's 9.5 minutes long. So there's a ton of preamble. If you want to go like 3 minutes in.
I can't. We can play the whole thing, and we can.
Okay. We're going to play the whole thing. Yeah. We'll come back and we'll wrap up because we've been at it for an hour.
You can talk of the first few minutes.
I just had an amazing phone call with a friend of mine who happens to work for the U.S. Senate. So he and I have been friends since the early 80s when our paths
Now is a good time to hit those hearts and share this with as many fucking people as humanly possible, by the way.
We used to go jogging together, and then we had to go separate ways. It's military. We went separate ways because of orders. But he and I stayed in contact, and we remained good friends ever since. Now, he and I, our relationship is unique, okay? We are emailers. He and I exchange emails probably 24 times a year. Those emails become more frequent towards the end of the year. We tend to recap each other's years. We both have great sense of humor, so we joke around a lot with each other. He's a dear friend of mine. Way back before he was first married, he was in love with a young lady, and he wanted a future with her, and she died very tragically and very suddenly. And that just tore him up, and it was years after that before he remarried. And he ended up in DC, got a Juris Doctorate. He's worked for the government in various capacities as an attorney, doing a lot of research and a lot of analyst type work. He also holds a security clearance. I'm assuming it's top secret or above because of the sensitive nature of his job. Today he is employed by the United States Senate, specifically a committee. So he knows things. I am not a Republican. I'm an independent. He's a diehard Republican. Our political perspectives are like this. I mean, they are opposite. We butt heads when it comes to politics. I'm blown away today because he told me today that he hates Donald Trump. That blew me away. This is the man who, when Donald Trump was first running, just defended him, and he loved Donald Trump, and he Hillary Clinton was evil and tied to George Soros and all this kind of stuff, and Obama was the devil, and later it was Biden was the devil and the Biden crime family, and he was just a devout Trump supporter throughout that first presidency. But he disclosed to me that after the first Trump presidency ended and he went on to do other types of contract work, he started getting a bad feeling about Donald Trump. Today, he told me he's seen enough. And when he says he's seen enough, I mean he has seen enough. Where now he understands and believes, as I do, that Donald Trump needs to go, that he's bad for America. So I just shot him an email today. I just woke up today and I was just wondering about my friend. And I just shot him an email. Hey, how you doing? Haven't heard from me for a while. Approaching the end of the year. You know, it's our year-end recap emails that we exchange. He calls me. I was totally surprised. And we talk every once in a while, maybe once or twice a year, but he calls me. And he's like, I won't say my name. He's like, dude, the shit's about to hit the fan. He says, you know I can't talk about this. I said, I know, but I'm dying to ask you questions. And he said, you know, because of my position, I can't say much, if anything. And I'm like, well, can you share any perspective on your view on the Epstein files? And he said, I can say this. The circles in Washington, D.C., and I'm paraphrasing him. The circles in Washington, D.C., they're leaky. People in the Justice Department know a lot of outside attorneys. A lot of people in D.C. know congresswomen and men and senators, men and women. There's a lot of this that goes on. Sometimes the information is just rock solid and valid. My friend pointed out to me that he still maintains friendships with people that work for the Department of Justice. And there are a number of people there, he says, who can't stand Donald Trump or Pam Bondi, that they are there serving as guardrails. They're attempting to just be guardrails.
Encouraging.
They like their jobs, but they can't stand their president. And they talk. And some of these people have seen things. And I asked my friend, is there any truth to what I believe that Donald Trump engaged in sexual acts with underage girls. And this is exactly what my friend said. This is how he responded. I asked him that question, and there was dead silence on the phone. And for this conversation, I'm going to call him Matthew. After about 10 seconds of silence, I say, Matthew, you still there? And he goes, I'm here. I said, I'm curious what your answer is. And he said, mm-hmm. And I repeat, I go, mm-hmm. He said, that's all I can say. Ah, okay. So what you're telling me, Donald Trump has been with underage girls. Mm-hmm. And there's pictures. There's photographic evidence and other physical evidence that can bring down the Trump presidency. And that's as far as he would take it. Even though I pressed him, he kept saying, dude, I can't talk about this. We did change the subject and we talked about other things. But, here's a Republican who once was an avid Trump supporter, who today admitted to me that he can't stand Donald Trump, that he understands that he is a danger to our country, his words. He has seen enough to have convinced himself that Donald Trump is guilty and that most likely he will be brought down by the Epstein scandal. I asked him, what about impeachment? I mean, come on. The committee that you support and a couple of other committees, can't you find high crimes and misdemeanors? And he immediately, hey, no question about it. Donald Trump is openly committing crimes left and right and center. Openly. Everybody sees it in Washington. There is more than enough evidence to charge Donald Trump today with high crimes and misdemeanors and impeach him. With the overwhelming majority of Republicans, in fact, all of them with the exception of one, who voted to release the Epstein files in the House and unanimous consent from the Senate, sent a message to Donald Trump that has him shitting in his diapers today. And that is, there are enough votes of people willing to convict Donald Trump in the Senate and kick him out of office. 3 politicians, Barry Goldwater being one of them, walked down Pennsylvania Avenue to the White House and demanded an audience with Richard Milhouse Nixon, then President of the United States. And they said, Mr. Nixon, Mr. President. The evidence is there. We've listened to the tapes. You conspired to commit burglary at the Watergate. You committed a felony with G. Gordon Liddy and other people. Your voice is on tape. We have the evidence. We're going to impeach you. We're going to refer you to a trial in the Senate. There's more than enough votes and we're going to kick you out. You need to resign. The very next day, Richard Milhouse Nixon resigned, effective noon. And Gerald Ford became president. Incidentally, Gerald Ford is the only man in American history who has served both as president and vice president, having never been elected to either office. So if Trump gets impeached, no big deal. He's already been impeached twice. But if he gets tried and convicted in the Senate and kicked out, J.D. Vance becomes president. While I'm not happy about that, I'll take him for the remainder of Trump's term over keeping Trump in office. And J.D. Vance gets to pick his vice president. Probably will be little Mikey. Anyway, happy to hear your thoughts.
That's a terrible
Have a great day,
solution.
everybody.
Everything you said up to there, it was, I could have told you that too, but, I believe these conversations are going on. These things are happening. I don't know who this guy is, and I have to be a little bit careful here, but obviously this is what's happening. When you've got the Senate and the House acting the way they did, voting the way they did, that doesn't happen just because. In fact, I go further than that. You don't get Prince Andrew losing his title You don't get Jess Staley being banned from the UK. You don't get that kind
The
of
recall of a U.S. ambassador
Yeah.
from England to the United States who was named in the files literally get called back, fired, and buried.
Yeah. You don't get any of that unless there's a lot of evidence to suggest a lot of things went down that should not have gone down. And if Donald Trump believes that he's going to survive, if Prince Andrew didn't survive, that is just not the case. And now people might be thinking, who cares about Prince Andrew? But Prince Andrew is still the crown, and that crown is still very formidable. And they don't do things like that. And so I agree with you I agree with this guy that there are probably conversations happening right now with Trump's people about.
There are.
I'm guessing. How do you end this? But
there are several conversations that are going on right now at the White House, and folks, if you were encouraged by that video, good, because it's coming. There are several conversations right now, as I understand it, of MAGA-minded grifters and opportunists who want to continue to grift and be opportunists, and they understand that Donald Trump is going to very quickly become a liability to that grift and that opportunity. Leave the 25th Amendment, what happens after that with process, where it's JD Vance and Mike Johnson, because this will set a precedent, because JD Vance is going to be outed as a pedophile protector. Mike Johnson is going to be, and all of these guys will claim, I don't know, they made me do it, which just really reinforces, we had no idea. We were just protecting the United States. All of these people will be using the excuse of, we were trying to protect the office of the President of the United States, and we had no idea. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. And I'll tell you why it's not going to work, because of guys like that. It's not going to work because of victims. It's not going to work because there are receipts. Lordy, as James Comey said, who's going to get a pass on this too, because Lindsey Halligan's an idiot and Donald Trump's a moron. Lordy, there are tapes. And I think it's really, really, really important not to put your hopes in any of those things. I think, you see that video, you're like, oh, he's done. No, because that guy's just some, career, public servant who served with distinction in the Army, who's got a connection. And by the way, this is one story. There are dozens of these that are rolling around. And to Wash's point from the left hook the other day when he was on the panel with us, I'd be interested to talk to Vicky Ward as well, again, about how hard it would be to literally strip a prince of his title in England for what he did. But if they can strip a prince because some people have seen some shit, they can definitely get rid of the president of the United States. And that is afoot at this point. But it's not just Donald Trump. It's every single fucking person around him that has rode his pedophile coattails, provided him cover so that they could also achieve greatness on the back of a fucking pervert.
And there's more than that, because there is also, as I keep saying, and I'm not just saying that, I'm saying it because I think it's really important people are recognize the financial crimes that went on behind the scenes are massive. They involved as much as $80 trillion in stolen wealth that was taken out of America's economy. There is a move afoot now by Senator Wyden to reopen the investigation into J.P. Morgan and Jeffrey Epstein's participation in those crimes, in the fact that there are, really suspicious transactions that went on now to the tune of $1.3 billion that were hidden by J.P. Morgan until Jeffrey Epstein's death. That is, as everyone knows, I've been talking about this a lot when it comes to the greatest heist. There is a coordinated effort there between America's biggest bank and this child human trafficker and otherwise career criminal to really hurt America's economy. In 2008, we're going to show you in The Greatest Heist, they collapsed the economy on purpose. They crashed that market on purpose. They took away people's homes. They took away people's dreams. They took away people's careers. They took away people's, university careers or secondary educations. They destroyed the middle of America. 10 million jobs were lost during the 2008 crash. And they did it on purpose. They triggered it on purpose. And we'll show you the mechanism. We'll prove to you that Jeffrey Epstein did it. And that is, that isn't as doesn't make you as agitated or as angry as the human trafficking and what happened to these poor girls. But it certainly when you think about the scale of that, and when you think about that happening repeatedly over 50 years, how much sadness and how much
Sure.
difficulty it has brought America, and it's
Yep.
all at the hands of this group of people. So that's why the whole network has to go. The entire network has to go.
Not only is it the whole network, but all the terrible people are doing all the terrible things. And I want to get to this email from Steve Bannon to end the show.
Mm.
I know we didn't really do a 5-stack, it's got like a
Yeah.
3.5 stack,
Something.
but I want to read you this email. This is from the Epstein files dump. This is how these guys look at women. This is Steve Bannon, Jeffrey Epstein. Bannon, will call shortly. Epstein, okay, didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. Epstein, continue tomorrow. Focus on Miller, with a parentheses, like a winking parentheses. You know, you got the thing with the comma and the dot, and then the parenthesis looks like a smiley face.
Yeah.
And Bannon's like, aye. Epstein, if you and Miss Miller want some privacy, you can use Island or Palm Beach House anytime. Bannon, thanks, brother. Epstein, 12 o'clock, hi. Me, high noon. And the house invite is sincere and not made often. So he's inviting him to literally pass up, to gift Stephen Miller's wife to Steve Bannon for sex. Thanks, appreciate that, Bannon says. Love High Noon. And Grace Kelly was filthy. She was in High Noon. Yes, if it were today, she would have had an easy pass installed on her thigh. Bannon then says, just a good mainline Catholic school girl. Epstein says, brother, you should really take Miss Miller to the ranch sometime this summer, Zorro Ranch. Bannon, I'm all in. These guys are talking about literally taking Stephen Miller's wife, Joseph Goebbels, and if I'm Stephen Miller and I'm reading this, guaranteed Stephen Miller's reading this, you're like, wait a second, did they give me that wife? Because there's no way Stephen Miller should be with Katie Miller.
Did they give her to Elon Musk as well?
Probably. There's a whole other fucking trafficking story here. Like, it's just fucking crazy. Yeah. And then he's like, brother, you really should take Miss Miller to the ranch sometime this summer. Bannon, I'm all in. And then they exchange news about our friend Michael Cohen being arrested, and talk about a movie, and talk about Rudy Giuliani having an affair with a married woman before his divorce. That just came out today.
What the hell
that just came out today
doing with Jeffrey Epstein like that? You know, he just left the administration back in 2017, 2018, and he moves. The next thing he does is befriends Jeffrey Epstein. How is that possible? How in the world do these two people even coincide? Like, how do did they know each other before? Where did they meet? How did this happen that they suddenly are best of friends and discussing, you know, obviously a plant inside the White House, Katie Miller?
Jonah, I'll tell you what I think. I think Jeffrey Epstein had groomed so many people, had so many relationships, that he not only used women to traffic to other rich people, he kept a lot of those women in his cabal and deployed them. And I think Katie Miller's one of those people. I think Melania Trump is one of those people. I mean, say what you want about Michael Wolff. I've said what I wanted to do about Michael Wolff in a post yesterday. We're not going to get to it today. Maybe we'll get to it tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Melania Trump was one of those people. Stephen Miller's wife, according to these emails, might be one of those people. And these are legitimate emails with timestamps, dates that were dumped in the Epstein estate files.
These women that they were trafficking were spies. I mean, what they did is they came back. I mean, there was underage human trafficking. That's a crime of its own. But what the adult women that he was trafficking to all these big leaders were spies. They came back and reported what they found out. They were giving him information. They weren't just being sent over there for the fun of it. He was collecting data. He was collecting information that he could use against them, or use for his own purposes. That's why he did what he did, and that explains why Stephen Miller and Katie Miller might not have that great a marriage.
Maybe Stephen's not the sexual matador she wants us to think he is. Oh, everything makes so much more sense to me today.
Yeah.
Right? From Trump losing his fucking mind, threatening to hang his opponents, and threatening anybody that disobeys his order with death via charge of sedition. Like, that fucking happened today. Now we've got these emails between Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein talking about literally trafficking Stephen Miller's wife. I'm going to write that piece after. I'm going to drive Stephen Miller nuts with it too. It's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be at deanblundell.substack.com. The best place to get a lot of coverage. We didn't even get to some of the stories you had today. I had in the rundown the Hoekstra story where he's threatening to kill Canada's relationship with NORAD.
Oh my God! Expel Pete Hoekstra. We need to hit him tomorrow. We need to hit Michael Wolff tomorrow.
There's so many good stories on deanblundell.substack.com. People should check it out. At Narrative, I have a Black Friday deal happening today until Saturday. Is it Black Friday, right? It is Black Friday, isn't it? It's a week early. Are we a week early?
Just all I need you to know is I don't like the whole phrase
Black Friday
because I'm woke. Yeah. I'm so woke. Why don't we just call it Super Sale Friday? Can we stop
Super Sale Friday for the next 24 hours? You're going to get lots of discounts, 25% off all our subscriptions. So,
oh wow,
it's a good deal. I haven't done this for a while, and if anyone wants to sign on to narrative.org and get The Greatest Heist, Chapter 3, if I finish writing it, will be out this weekend. It's really good. It contains a lot of first-hand accounts that are really mind-blowing and some really good information you haven't seen anywhere else before. That'll come out on Sunday, so that's a good reason to subscribe. And
well, yeah, and the best reason to subscribe is that no one knows more, no one gets under the hood, no one investigates these pricks, and hasn't for the past 40 years, like my friend Zev Shalev. Narrative.org, mandatory reading. Go there and get your subscription. He's got a great Black Friday, Super Sale Friday deal. Make sure you take advantage of it. I'm better than you. I've run a Black Friday deal all month.
Oh, of course you have. You're better than me. You're always better than me.
Get used to it. No, I'm kidding. No one's better than anybody here. We're all the same people. But I've got this 25% deal, 25% off annual memberships. Lock it in. It's like $80. It's nothing. The 25% off $80. So whatever. Just happy you're here. And we've also got founding memberships that you buy it once, you never have to buy it again. $8 a month for everybody else as well. We want you to be part of this network. We want you to be part of what we're doing. What you heard today is not readily available anywhere because we do the work. And we want you to come with us. We are the resistance. And if you can find it in your heart to subscribe for free by giving us your email address, trust me, you'll never get spammed, ever. And if you can find it in your heart to kind of keep us moving by buying a membership, buying a subscription to narrative.org, deanblundell.substack.com, I'll tell you what, nothing says thank you, and nothing is more impressive to me. Nothing is more of an honor than not having a business pay us, but having the people that consume what we do keep us in business. So thank you, thank you, thank you so far. It's been a solid 9 months for me. I know Zev's been at it for a shorter or a bit of a longer period of time, but the growth that we've seen because we answer that bell for you and with you because we are you has been mind-blowing to me. And it keeps us not just motivated, but it keeps us in your life. It keeps you in our lives. Keeps you chatting with us, and you've got a direct pipeline to us, DMs, whatever you need when you become a subscriber. So please do that if you can do that today. And keep the faith, because if what you heard here today bears out, and I can tell you this, I never put anything out there unless I know it's true, we are seeing the beginning of the end. Take great hope. My American friends, we're broadcast from Canada. We're the Underground Information Railroad. We try to get you what you need because that's really, really important to us. It's why Zev and I are here. That's his mandate, Zev's mandate, that's my mandate, is to be able to serve the United States of America and the people in it who do not believe in fascism, who hate the fucking fact that a pedophile is their president, a felon, a rapist, someone who is the village idiot, a fascist is their president. And we see you, we know you, because we are you. We're all the same. Canada and America, we are tight. We're friends, we're pals, we're not going to leave you. And we know the difference between an American and a MAG American. And we know the MAGA Americans are not only dwindling, they're lighting their shit on fire. All their MAGA merch, I saw a great fucking text the other day. It's like, I bought the merch, I went to the rallies, you fucked us. Mm-hmm. I've seen the videos of people barbecuing all their shit. And listen, we're here for that too. If you're one of those people, come on back into the real world. Stop believing the bullshit. Follow people like Zev, follow people like us. And more importantly, thank you for taking an hour and 24 minutes. It's got to be one of the longer 5 stacks, which you turned into 3.5. Yeah. We've been here for a while, but thank you. Your time is capital, and that capital means more to us than anything. And your attention, it is an honor to serve you every single day. So become a subscriber if you can. And if you can't, totally get it. And here's the other thing: if you can't afford it, you want all access, just send us a DM. We'll see what we can do for a few people who just really want to come along for that ride. But thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it, friends.
That's brilliantly said. Have a great one, Dean, and we shall see you again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Thanks, everyone, for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.